Hi guys, welcome to Nerdcast, where we are currently suspicious that the AI has messed with Jess's language setting.
皆さんこんばんは。这是 Nerdcast。Me llamo Jessica. Hi guys. Woo, we did it.
Welcome to Nerdcast.
To the Batmobile. Let's go. Atomic batteries to power. Turbines to speed. Roger. Ready to move out.
Now that my language settings are fixed, we can do news and views.
In English.
Japan can finally rejoice because now they have a release date for Final Fantasy X 10-2 HD. They can re-enjoy the sounds of crow laughter beginning December 26th. However, if they want to forego the X2 due to the lack of crow laughter, they'll have to buy the Vita version. The PS3 games come bundled together, whereas on the Vita, they can be bought separately. Speaking of bundles, what you got there, Nintendo?
Is it a puppy?
No, but they do have new Wii U bundles announced.
Nice. When can I buy one?
Well, Mitch, you can't. At least not in the US. These are European bundles, but they'll be out just in time for the PS4 and Xbox One releases. There's a 32GB version that has both New Super Mario Bros. U and New Super Luigi U. Another comes with Wii Party U, Nintendo Land, and a Wii Remote Plus, but it's only 8GB. The final bundle has the same thing as the last one, just replace Wii Party U with Just Dance 2014.
Dance party!
Europe also managed to snag some PS4 bundles too. Yep, for an extra £50, gamers can pick up Killzone Shadowfall Special Edition or Watch Dogs. There's also a bundle that comes with Killzone and Drive Club, or they could always go for the third option that still has Killzone but also comes with an extra DualShock 4 and PS4 camera. So the only question left is, will any bundles be coming here to the States?
The supernatural has long been a thing for TV producers. Shows like Buffy, Angel, other things Joss Whedon has done, and more recently Supernatural, have all been really popular with surprisingly a diverse audience. That being said, werewolves are also now a thing. Ever since Twilight, teenage girls have been swooning over guys who turn fuzzy once a month in hopes that they can link their cycles. So is it any wonder that MTV decided to take advantage of this? Teen Wolf, which first aired in 2011 on the former Music Television channel, shows the adventures and romances of a group of high school kids all dealing in their own ways with werewolves. The show centers on Scott, a once social outcast turned star lacrosse player who is a new werewolf. His on-again, off-again love of his life, Allison, comes from a long line of werewolf hunters, Stills. His best friend is the quirky sidekick who is head over heels with Lydia, Allison's best friend, and the only person who is immune to lycanthropy. And rounding out the cast is Derek, the angsty alpha wolf.
There's also this guy, Jackson, but nobody likes him.
Now, talking strictly production-wise, there's not a whole lot that's good about this show. I mean, the seasons are so short, so they do a pretty good job of staying on point, but the writing can be pretty hit or miss with cliches and no crap moments. Also, they have a very inconsistent timeline that jumps forward in huge leaps and bounds. There are several cases where one episode starts on a Saturday or something, and then the next scene is Wednesday, and you're like, I don't know. Season 1 and 2 had pretty basic plot arcs, and they took the whole season to explore, and thus they were able to develop characters, which, hey, that's great. But Season 3 tried to fit its whole story arc into the first half of the season, instead of taking the whole season, and you see a lot of characters suffering in their development departments. But some of the characters that have been created are so entertaining and connectable that you keep coming back for more. The world may have created 1,000 possibilities for awesomeness if the people behind it could do things like remembering what they've already written and not just leaving incredibly glaring plot holes all over the place like a minefield of bad writing decisions. That being said, there are some things that Teen Wolf does that are not only extremely well done, but also pretty brave. For example, they take a brave stance on homosexuality. One of the reoccurring characters, Danny, is gay and popular. He's an athlete, best friend of the lacrosse captain, and nobody cares that he's gay. It's just there. There's also Stills, who seems to be very curious about sexuality and honestly could be bi. Again, nobody really cares. Sexuality in general is handled very well in the show. Yes, you have teenagers running around having sex, but the producers stress safe sex and responsibility.
So, go MTV! But this still doesn't make up for 16 and pregnant.
Nothing does. Anyways, the real question about Teen Wolf as it relates to our month of Halloween is it a horror show? Well, what do you need to make a good horror story? Suspense, fear, surprise, mystery. Teen Wolf doesn't really have any of that, at least not as a whole. There are episodes that do.
Like when they get locked in the school, or chased through the hotel, or the police station. That was pretty creepy.
But generally, no. Teen Wolf is not horror. Yes, it has supernatural creatures, but that's not what makes a horror show. The unfortunate fact about Teen Wolf is that it's a teen drama, and the writers focus way too much on romance. There's no overall buildup of suspense for the characters, and they give away the mystery way too soon, so you're not surprised. And all that means is you're not afraid either. But part of what can make horror movies successful is that they give you time to see character moments that make you care about what happens to them, and that's a sign of strength for the show.
Except for season 3.
This is a character-driven show, and you know that from the beginning. You don't watch the show for the amazing storytelling, you watch it for the teenage character.
It has a pretty hot cast, and they normally do walk around half naked.
Teen Wolf is not an amazing show, but it's a good show. It's okay. If they could tighten up the writing, it might even be a great show. But hey, they get props for being a show about werewolves that doesn't include a sparkling fairy.
Facebook is like that friend from long ago that you avoid because they know all your embarrassing secrets from the past and aren't afraid of sharing. Well, as much as you may try to avoid them, they want everyone to know you. Facebook is planning on removing the feature to not show up in search results outside of their site.
Say what?
Yep, people will be able to Google your name and see wall posts from after this feature is removed. You can avoid having all your info spread out over the internet if you pay attention to the privacy settings and make sure your posts aren't shared as public.
I don't know why they have to be so difficult.
So hey, has everyone been watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Well, apparently, because they just got signed for a full season, which is really cool because the US military, in all their shutdown glory, has confirmed a real-life Iron Man suit. While it may not look exactly like the iconic suit, the principle is still the same. Complete with onboard computer and life support functions, the wearer of the suit is supposed to be able to walk through a stream of bullets unscathed.
I want to try it.
Hey, iOS users, we have a really special treat for you.
Have you ever heard of a little game called Costume Quest?
From the imagination of Double Fine Productions comes Costume Quest, an epic Halloween adventure. Explore creepy locations, crawling with monsters as you recruit your own pack of costumed heroes. Collect and swap a wicked array of Halloween costumes with built-in combat powers. Battle horrible monsters and their menacing minions.
Well, if you haven't, now's a good time because it's available in the App Store. Man, did I love getting to play through this game. Only a few hours long, and it sets you up for trick-or-treating. It's also available for Xbox, PlayStation, and PC.
Rain is another one of those indie games that was low on budget, but big on ideas. When a boy wakes from his sickbed to find the silhouette of an invisible girl running through the rain, he sets off to help her, and becomes invisible himself. What follows is the story of survival through a terrifying blackened city. And just to emphasize, what follows is a story. Rain is much less of a game than it is a tale. Following closely in the line of Amnesia, A Machine for Pigs, Rain is another game that's more interested in telling a story than it is about gameplay. Unlike Machine for Pigs, Rain offers things that are actually gameplay, and Machine for Pigs never really attempted to do that, and I'm still kind of bitter about it. Your biggest weapon as a sickly European boy is your invisibility. Running under overhangs or objects shields you from the rain.
Oh, It must be important.
Giving you back full invisibility. Survival is based on your ability to navigate the city without being seen, solving various puzzles as you go in order to unlock the way forward. There are no ways for your duo of invisible children to fight back against the haunting invisible creatures, which adds a layer of real tension, even if the creature designs aren't quite scary enough to call this a horror game. Meanwhile, as a story, Rain excels. Rain has a storybook theme that sets the narrative moving. Opening cutscenes are watercolored paintings, and much of the story is told in text that appears as you navigate the levels. Clearly, the goal was to save money by not hiring voice actors, but Rain's tone sets up the text in a way that makes it feel less like required reading and more like pretty much the only way the game could have been made. I like that the text is placed on moving backgrounds, appearing dynamically as the player walks by. Of course, this also means the player has to read while they run. Anyone with any kind of motion sickness will have to stop to read each line or get a headache. Unfortunately, some areas are not meant to be stopped in, so you can't read and run and you're going to miss something, which will probably be fine. Most of the text just corresponds to what's happening on screen, so a vast majority of the reading is actually unnecessary. Worst of all, sometimes the characters are clearly not doing what the text says they're doing. And that was jarring for a game that previously had been so well put together. Basically, Rain's status as an indie title is like the invisibility of their characters, both a blessing and a curse. The stealth puzzles are good, but they're simple and don't really challenge the player. The game's length also suffers. The whole thing can be beaten in 2 or 3 hours without too many deaths. An artificial attempt at replayability is made when the game's second playthrough contains memories that reveal backstory of characters and the city, but it's baffling that those weren't in the original playthrough, and it's clearly just a gimmick. Ultimately, Rain is not Journey or Portal, but it's a solid game overall that's confident in its own unique experience. The game design choices outweigh the bad, and the world creates some genuine tension moments that make you care for the characters. The niche gamers are going to love it. For everyone else, Rain gets a heartfelt, okay.
Sony, I have a question for you.
What are you doing?
At launch, previous headsets will not be compatible with the PS4 until an update will be released at an unknown date. And they finally got cross-game chat too. Never fear, you say? The PS4 comes bundled with a wired mono earbud. Good job really marketing that Pulse headset. I'll be sure not to pick that up now. Luckily, the controller will be compatible with PCs at launch, so maybe I'll just buy the controller and keep playing my Steam games until then. Oh, Russia. Apparently your government doesn't feel as if your games are educational enough.
I think you mean Russian.
Yeah, that word. Anywho, because of video games that distort history, some could eventually be banned, which sucks. But not as much as the fact that the Russian government has decided to create their own video games. What could possibly go wrong with it? First it was curved OLED TVs, and now it's a curved phone. I present to you the Samsung Galaxy Round. It does this. What you just saw was a 5.7-inch curved AMOLED screen that has so far only been launched in Korea. And, in case you're wondering, its specs are comparable to that of the Galaxy Note 3. Due to this shiny new toy that I must have, LG is also in development of a flexible display. No idea what that means, people. Square Enix is trying to be seen. Somewhere between Kickstarter and Greenlight, they've announced the Collective. Basically, indie devs get feedback from the community, and if enough gamers like the concept, good old Square will use some unknown process to determine if a studio has the means to make the game and how much it will cost to do so. The game is then forwarded to Indiegogo for crowdfunding. Square even plans to allow some devs to work on some of their older IPs, but none specifically have been announced. Time for more superhero adventures in
Comic Crash! The AI is more powerful than we assumed. It has removed all comic book news from existence for this week. So instead, here's Comic Crash reviews only.
Alright, we're going around the world trying to figure out how to stop the AI, but I still wanted to be able to do Comic Crash, so I'm reporting in here from somewhere in the middle of the Amazon jungle. I kind of lost, but that's not a problem right now that you need to worry about. Here's Comic Crash. Hinterkind #1 is one of the new wave of Vertigo series coming out of DC, and one with an extraordinarily beautiful cover. The world built here is somewhat familiar kind of setting with top-notch execution in a mostly post-human world where nature has taken over. The first issue offers a lot of surprising twists. You keep thinking you know what kind of world it's building, and every few pages it throws you for a different loop, and it results in quite a promising start, as it keeps catching you off guard. 8 out of 10. Mighty Avengers #2, the comedy is still top-notch in short bursts, but well-balanced with everything else. There's still not a whole lot done to justify this series in an ongoing aspect, but in the midst of Infinity, it's really solid. And seriously, an old woman throwing a brick at an alien general before chanting "Avengers Assemble," there's nothing not great about that. But 7.5 out of 10. Thunderbolts has been a really entertaining series since Charles Soule took over. He knows how to play these psychos off each other for perfect comedy. Issue 16 came out, the running gag of Deadpool being mistaken for Spider-Man gets old quick, but the entire idea that in the midst of a massive alien invasion, the Punisher is still 100% focused on his mission to eliminate the Dons is just kind of amusing in and of itself. The art is really dynamic, but it's kind of simplistic, so I can get a lot of people not enjoying that, but it's fun. 7 out of 10. Savage Wolverine #9. I haven't been reading the first 8 issues, but each arc has a new creative team, and so this one, look at that cover, I had to pick it up. Jockson has been making superb covers for Wolverine Max, and now he's doing the covers and interior art for Savage Wolverine. His style is rough and jagged, but it works wonders for the character and the setting. This issue breezes by, feeling a bit short, but it's pretty awesome. 8 out of 10. All New X-Men #17 is the moment in Battle of the Atom I've been waiting for, where things truly begin to get interesting. This, of course, comes with the added level of confusion, as what began as X-Men from 3 different times has become 5 separate teams of X-Men, still from 3 different time periods, including 4 versions of Iceman somehow. Despite the confusion, this is the first issue of an event that makes it feel worth it. 8.5 out of 10. There were new issues of Bedlam, Morning Glories, and Lazarus this week, and yes, they were all absolutely amazing and perfect scores all around. Image, I love you, don't change a thing. And yet, my pick of the week this week was the beginning of the new miniseries, Marvel Knights Spider-Man #1. This is not just a comic to read if you miss Peter Parker. This is the beginning of one of the most amazing Spider-Man stories I've seen in my life. Marco Rudy is an artist I always pay attention to, but he doesn't get enough work in the industry. He is the best at experimental panel layouts, and this is the best work he's ever done. It works well with the narrative, which involves a heavily drugged Spider-Man and a deliberately surreal gauntlet. It's just mind-blowing how unique. This is the kind of comic that shows when things can only be done in one form of media. This story can only be done as a comic. And it's the kind of thing that makes me reevaluate my standards. So obviously this is a perfect score. Go get that now. And that's it for Comic Crash. I gotta go right now. I gotta go rescue my guides, Alexander and Catherine, from an army of pink dolphins. And that's probably the most obscure joke you're ever gonna hear on television.
Ladies and gentlemen, Halloween is about wearing costumes, being scary, wearing costumes, and repetition. Now for Good Bad Random about costumes.
Or rather, good.
I prefer to take Halloween night and dress as Santa Claus to confuse people.
I love when people dress as ninjas, because you don't really know if they're trick-or-treating or if they're there to rob and kill you.
Yeah, my family didn't really celebrate Halloween. One year they let me go to school dressed as an angel.
One year I did a pretty nice V for Vendetta, and I killed several muggers that night.
I've always wanted to see a costume of a waffle fry.
I never got any candy. I mean, yeah, the after Halloween sale stuff, but then you only get like 1 or 2 types. Don't do that to your children.
Last week, Jeremy wore a Court of Owls costume. So this year for Halloween, I'm going as Jeremy.
That's a great idea. We still haven't found Jeremy yet.
Now I want some candy. Hey, do we have any Starbursts? Skittles? Snickers? I'll take M&Ms at this point. Oh, hey, Bill. How'jo 부진? Hisashiburi. Hi, how you doing?
Recent reports indicate that Bill has once again been located. Now he's going to make you think things about stuff in philosophy of.
Hello, folks. Bill Allen, back to wish you all a safe and happy Halloween, and to tell you about one of my favorite scary stories. And to spend a little bit of time talking about fear and what it all means to us. In 1898, H.G. Wells wrote War of the Worlds, a classic tale about alien invaders who eyed our planet with intelligences far greater than our own and a hunger for our resources and our lives. They come to Earth, they destroy everything in our path, and nothing we do is able to stop them. H.G. Wells had a recurring theme in many of his novels that reflected a fear of the end of civilization. Eventually, our civilization and all it accomplished is going to be destroyed, and there'll be nothing left. It's a bleak vision of a hopeless future that, one way or the other, we're all going to be forgotten and be dust, and nothing we do is going to make a significant impact on the future. And it's a frightening thought, especially in the 1890s. They're at the cusp of the Industrial Revolution. The world is changing around them. Their civilization is actually changing. What they were before is going away. And what they're about to become, kind of scary to them. So, War of the Worlds tapped into one of the basic fears of human civilization at that time. But the story of these Martian invaders is not one that is limited just to that single kind of fear, because it keeps coming up again and again and again in our culture. And it's almost as if the Martians are the epitome of all fears. There's nothing as scary as a Martian. Sure, there are scary aliens out there, but the War of the Worlds started a riot. In 1938, Orson Welles took this little book and he turned it into a radio play. Broadcast the night before Halloween, the War of the Worlds radio play helped spark new fears in America. In the 30s, we were on the cusp of a massive war in Europe, and we still remember the horrors of World War I, and another world war was threatening to break out that would engulf us in something even worse than the last time, and there didn't seem to be any way out of it. So when Orson Welles goes on the radio and puts out these news broadcasts and says, we're being invaded, we are at war, we are being destroyed, people actually panicked. The 911 operators in New York were flooded, and they had to shut down for a while because so many people were calling in, worried the city was being destroyed. There was rioting, there were shots fired in New Jersey as people formed mobs and went out hunting for aliens or just fending for themselves in a world they thought was on the brink of disaster. Once again, the War of the Worlds tapped into some of the fears that reflected the society of that time. And even then, it still wasn't done. In 1953, George Powell made the color adaptation film of War of the Worlds. And in this film, the fear is about the communist menace. They're right around the corner. Their technology could even be surpassing ours. They could beat us into space. So here's this story about a bunch of people from space. Their technology ahead of us. The best America has to offer isn't enough. Not even our nuclear bombs, the most devastating and frightening weapon we had, was enough to stop them. So again, this is a film that managed to tap into what people were afraid of at the time. And it still wasn't done. The 1980s saw a television series spun off from the War of the Worlds film, in which the aliens who survived the 1953 film, they didn't die, they went into comas. And now they're alive, and they're taking people, carving them up, and wearing them like environmental suits. In the 80s, there was an identity crisis as people were trying to define who they are and what they stood for. And there were these sinister undertones present in this film about who we are. That's the question. Are we who we are? Are we still human? Who can you trust all around you? With the Cold War reaching new heights in the 1980s, the fear that no one around you could be trusted, that anyone could be a spy, anyone could be something else under the surface than what they seemed. The show was unsettling in many ways and caused a lot of panic for a lot of people. The most recent adaptation of the War of the Worlds saga was the Tom Cruise film back in 2005. And this time, they make it about terrorists. It's a sudden, blindsided attack from the middle of nowhere. People are panicked. People are dying. It is tapping into another fear that we have right here, right now. In another 20 years, you're going to see War of the Worlds again. Whatever it is we're afraid of, it will be symbolized, it will be epitomized by these Martians who keep coming after us. And no matter what we do, we don't have what it takes to stop them. In every iteration of the story, the one thing that finally stopped them is a tiny, insignificant little germ. And that, in the end, is a tapping into what is the ultimate fear of all people. Our own death, our own mortality. Because no matter what we do, no matter how advanced we get, no matter how clean we are, we're going to get sick. And we're going to die. So the Martians, they're an alien threat. They're the Grim Reaper. They're our worst nightmare. They're our worst enemy. They're anything and everything we could be afraid of, all wrapped up in one slimy, ugly little package, eyeing our planet and just biding their time, waiting to strike. Happy Halloween and pleasant dreams.
This is Nerdcast. Well, since you're watching the show already, I'm going to assume that you like the show. Remember to catch us every Monday night at 9. Hope to see you next week.
You know, that is a really great Jeremy costume.
Yeah, Mitch, I can barely tell that it's you. Wow, good job.
Well, I don't know the hair, you know, it's...
Yeah, I think Jeremy's actually a little bit
it's
redder.
like plastic, or...
I don't know. So, do the freckles just rub off?
I don't know, I feel like this is one of those, like, you know, like, Halloween store kind of, like, you know, this is like the bargain bin special.
Where did he find the bleaching cream to make his skin that pale?
I don't know.
I thought that was illegal here.
Well, I think what you can do is actually, if you take paper mache and you stick, like, notebook paper to yourself, I think, you know, just you know, take like an orange highlighter or something, just...
So if we peel it off, will he, like, spin around like a mummy?
Oh! Can we try that?